Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Maggie, and welcome to the M&M Debrief, the podcast where Mike and Maggie discuss the top stories in politics and sports and try to make sense of the headlines. Mike, do we have any follow-ups from the last episode?
Yeah, I got to follow up. I had mentioned a book by Michael Lewis that he wrote about civil servants in the government, and it was just before the whole Doge thing took off, and everybody thought that the people working there were incompetent and all that. But Michael Lewis wrote a wonderful book saying pretty much the opposite. Just people trying to help make their country better. And anyway, the name of the book is Who is Government? The Untold Story of Public Service. So I'd recommend reading, especially for those of you who are fans of Doge and think everybody's incompetent that works for the government. It's probably pretty much the opposite. So,
Hmm.
and we had talked about the scandal in Florida and the with the Medicare kickbacks and the settlement and all that. The name of the charity that is run by Casey DeSantis is called Hope Florida.
Florida.
And then the name of the company that owed them 600 or not 600 $67 million is Centene Corporation, Centene,
That's
Centene
a healthcare
Corporation.
corporation, yeah.
That's the name of the healthcare corporation in Florida that overcharged to the tune of $67 million. They gave that back to Florida, and Florida promptly funneled a bunch of it to DeSantis's charity and then
Wow.
back to his campaign. So,
Wow. They're a huge Medicaid company. So interesting. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you.
all right.
All right.
Let's see. It's been a few days since we had a episode. I'm trying to keep track of what's going on. It's all just
It can
one.
be it can be challenging these days, honey.
It's all just one big
One big
war
mess.
here.
One big military excursion.
Yes, yes. That's what Trump said today at a meeting. Was it today or yesterday? A meeting with Turkey, where he said, we're not at war. It's just a military excursion. Like, okay, whatever, dude. So yeah, he's on the verge of approving some F-35s, I think, for Turkey. So
Hmm.
even though we're in NATO with Turkey, and Turkey is also like a borderline EU state, they're not in the EU, but they act a lot like they are.
Mhm.
Provisional status or something like that.
Sure.
Anyway, there were some issues selling the planes to Turkey because Turkey also uses a defense system that is from Russia. So some people are worried that they will have the American planes working with the Russian defense system, and the Ruskies will be able to figure out a lot about our planes from.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think Israel's kind of behind that because I've mentioned this a few times. Israel kind of views Turkey as the next enemy, and if you see, they're starting to make some noise about Turkey. Netanyahu is kind of saying, "We don't like what Erdogan's saying," and yeah, you start kind of setting the stage for Turkey.
Mhm.
Turkey being the next thing that we're going after,
Is
which
that
would
the new
be.
basis for starting a war, that you don't like what someone is saying about you?
Yeah, yes, something like that. I guess it depends on how big they are and whether they have nukes or not. So,
Hmm.
but anyway, so when he was with Turkey, I want to say yesterday, there was a meeting. I don't know if it was in Turkey or if it was in America. Yeah, they were asking him questions, and he mentioned that he wasn't at a war anymore. It was a military excursion. So anyway, yeah, there's all kinds of mild strikes. A couple tankers got hit today. The big deal over the weekend was the funeral of Khomeini,
Mhm.
who was in line for the next Khomeini that was in
Sure.
line. The 86-year-old man who had advanced prostate cancer, who was about to die any moment. We decided to kill him.
Sure.
Kill his
Put him out of his
granddaughter.
misery?
Kill his granddaughter, and I'm sure that would not fire up any of the Iranians. But anyway, they started the funeral process, which I think is arguably been like the largest attended funeral in many decades and in the world.
Do
And
did they pick July 4th on purpose?
a good you must have been reading my mind, honey.
Sorry.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah,
Mhm.
a lot of folks are saying that they picked July 4th on purpose, just to say, "Hey, man, we ain't going anywhere, and we don't care if you're 250 years old. You killed our leader, and we ain't happy about it." So, and I think this whole thing lasts a while. I think they parade the guy around the country, and kind of like with I know when Lincoln got shot, they
Yeah,
they,
in
they
the old
carried carried
days on the
ca- carried his.
train, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, so we'll, and then there's been chants about killing Trump and Netanyahu at the guy's funeral. So I'm pretty sure the war's not over. The military
The
excursion
military
is.
excursion is not
Excursion.
over, for which there is a ceasefire. Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of folks are saying that both sides are just using this opportunity to retool, resupply. They're not really serious about having the
Right.
end of things. They're just kind of taking a break to resupply, and I don't know. That could be right. There's people are still talking. I think it's in Doha, or Qatar.
Mm.
People are still talking. Various parties for each side are still talking. So I don't know. We shall see.
Mm.
The Strait of Hormuz is open at about a third of its normal pace, and I think that's kind of a humanitarian thing where they're just kind of letting all those ships kind of get out. They've been in there for 4 months, kind of stuck, and I think part of it is just humanitarian. I think the UN asked them to do that.
Hmm.
I don't quite know how much oil's getting out, or the oil, probably oil that was
Mhm.
already in those ships is getting out, but
Mhm.
any new stuff? Let's see. The diplomacy is limping along. Yeah, so Trump was in Turkey for the NATO summit. That's when he made that comment. So he's actually in Turkey right now. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Ukraine, yeah, no ceasefire. Boy, people are really getting worried that Russia is just gonna start firing off into Poland or Finland or something just to kind of distract everybody from Ukraine. Yeah,
Really?
it looks like they want to they want to expand the war to be a war with NATO instead of a war with just Ukraine. I don't know. They can't even beat Ukraine, so I don't quite know why they want to go after anybody else.
Has anybody asked or checked Putin's mental health right now?
The Russian mentality is, even though they're incredibly huge, they're just paranoid about getting invaded. I guess the Nazis invaded them, Napoleon invaded them, the Nazis invaded. And even though they're monstrously huge, a large part of the country is just frozen tundra. So I think they consider the east or the west side of Russia to be like the Russia, and even though the rest of Russia is monstrously huge, it's just frozen tundra basically. So
Mhm.
they are worried. They're trying to get to a point where they've got natural barriers to invading mountains or rivers or something. And I think there's a mentality about not wanting to be invaded, and they can't stop it. It's in them. So we'll see how NATO, if this comes to fruition, and if NATO can fight them back. I know the various countries in NATO, like Finland is new to NATO, and they just approved that it's not illegal to store nuclear weapons anymore, which is the first step toward actually getting nuclear weapons. I think the Baltic states are also upgrading or changing their laws so that they can store nuclear weapons, because that's basically the only thing that can stop somebody from invading you is if you have a nuclear weapons, which would make I'll let you all figure out what Iranians are thinking right now as far as.
Well, Ukrainians,
Yeah.
if that's all you need, fine, give them a nuclear weapon. Now what?
Yeah, yeah, the other side of the coin would be, why don't we just give everybody
Mhm.
nukes, and
Right,
then everybody will stop fighting,
right.
somebody will get nuts there at some point, but, yeah, so, I mean, people aren't stupid. They're thinking, well, why the hell does, Israel get to be the bully around? Because they got
Mhm.
200 nuclear weapons, and why isn't anybody invading North Korea? I wonder why. Because they have nukes, why isn't
Right.
anybody invading Pakistan? Because they have nukes, so.
Mhm.
So I think the NATO and the EU can see the writing on the wall here. We'll just see where it goes here. While just kind of waiting around for
Right,
a trigger to be pulled at some point.
right. Now, honey, just for a moment to take your argument to the next level, would it really be so bad if Iran had a nuclear weapon? I'm sorry, I'm probably echoing Trump right now, but it would probably shut up
Mm,
Israel
mhm,
and would also protect Lebanon because Iran would say Lebanon's my buddy,
mhm,
my ally. If
mhm,
you attack Lebanon, you attack me.
mhm,
So therefore, you're almost would be creating a sort of a Middle Eastern NATO, right,
mhm,
with all of Iran's friends if Iran had a nuclear weapon.
mhm,
And, the truth is there's just been fighting and war going on in the Gaza and everything for how many years? 2 years now?
mhm,
Maybe 3? And, maybe that's what it's gonna take.
mhm.
Just throwing it out
Well
there.
well, yeah, that's a valid point. We've had countries that why are we okay with Pakistan having nukes, and why are we okay with North Korea having nukes, but we're not okay with Iran having nukes? It's all kinda, propaganda in my mind. They don't have ballistic missiles that'll reach the United States, so I don't know why. Well, yeah, it's tied into them being Muslim as opposed to Westernized,
Right.
Israel's Western, they're Jewish, but they're Westernized, and we're okay with, European countries having nukes and us having nukes, Russia having nukes, which is kinda Westernized, but we were not okay with Muslim countries having nukes, and it was more cultural. So I hear your point, and I actually agree with it, but the rest of the country and the government and the propaganda machine is, "Oh my god, how can you be unpatriotic and think that it's okay for Iran to have nukes and all this stuff?" It's all kind of
It
propaganda,
seems
but
Yeah, it seems like the real problem is the unequalness of power. So, to your point, Israel can go ahead and attack everybody. They have their dome and they have nukes, and they basically are causing chaos around the Middle East and killing at will. And, you know, it's, I wonder if it isn't maybe the fact that they have nukes and nobody else does in the
they
Middle
also
East.
yeah, they also have American money and American support.
Yeah.
But yeah, the if you told me I had to bet my life savings on who will shoot off the next nuke, it would be Israel. But, yeah, since we're so in bed with them that we can't say that,
Mhm.
and all this. So, but yeah, if the theory of what is it, mutually assured destruction, you'd
Right.
think we should just give everybody nukes, and then
Well, it's a thought.
everyone, it's like it's the same theory that the NRA has right here in America. It's like, well, just the only thing that stops a good guy with a gun is, or a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. So let's have more guns.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's extend that logic
Then you
out
shoot
and
yourself in the foot. Right.
right, let's extend that logic out, and, why don't we just give everybody nukes? Everybody who wants nukes can have 'em, and maybe we'll all just settle down.
Well, I guess what I'm also thinking is that in the next, what, 30 years?
Mhm,
Yeah, more people will have nukes, and our children are going to have different challenges to
mhm.
deal with.
Yeah, I mean, the veil of American supremacy is lifted, and people are looking differently at things, and I guarantee you that Iran is accelerating their nuclear development,
Mhm.
and they'll probably be buying a few off of Pakistan or Russia or one of them just so they can have a dozen or so and go, "Hey, man, you wanna start bombing us again? Well, guess what?
Mhm.
We got 15 nukes and,
Yeah,
you know."
maybe we are crazy enough to use them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, all the other countries, well, I don't know how if, Pakistan, or I don't know how threatening some of these other countries exactly are. I don't recall Pakistan being all that threatening with its nukes, and I think India also has nukes. Yeah, they're not waving them around.
No,
It
but, Pakistan and India are always at war, so, no, now they are equal, and so they're not gonna do anything to each other because I have nukes and you have nukes, so
yeah, that's what, yeah, right, so that's would be
right.
the right deterrent here, right? They hate each other, but, they keep it together, I guess, but
Yeah.
alright. So, was there any I'm trying to think, no, I think that's everything's just kinda lollygagging here until, it's
When
probably
is
gonna be
this
li
memo of understanding over anyway? What's the time frame? It's
yeah,
kinda
it's
getting
probably
boring around here.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be like this for another month and a half. I
Oh,
60
okay.
day 60 days from whenever they signed it, and
Okay, well, we'll enjoy the summer, everyone.
well, yeah, I
Yeah,
haven't had enjoy the summer, and hopefully the Strategic Petroleum Reserve will hold out, and, everybody will have enough gas to go on their vacations, and
yeah, they better
it'll
be
be
replenishing it like
it
gangbusters.
it'll be okay. So, that's all I got on the war there. Check here. I don't think there's anything brand new that I've seen lately.
Domestic?
Yeah, let's get down to the domestic. Let's see. The DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, they got another notch in their belt. 15-term incumbent in California District Number 1 was defeated in a primary by a 29-year-old Democratic Socialist.
Well, good. We need
Mi-
a little fresh blood. That's healthy.
Milat Kuros. And so the Milat Kuros was born 4 months after Diana DeGette first took office.
Wow.
So,
That
uh,
says everything, doesn't it? I mean, really.
yeah, yeah, and then, so speaking of DSA people or leftists, Graham Plattner now has another scandal
Yeah,
with a woman just came out yesterday with a
yeah.
woman who was accusing him of sexual assault.
Mm.
I don't know how credible she is, don't know how that affects his campaign. I'm pretty sure that the Democratic Party is gonna pull funding, and whether he decides to keep going or not. I think he'd still have a decent shot to win, frankly, despite all this, if he just keeps going, or if he decides that there's too much baggage, I don't know. So,
The timing of her announcement of this particular
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
it's the timing is really bad. It's meant to inflict the most harm on Plattner. Now, don't
Yeah,
get me
yeah.
wrong, he
They
should.
would've they would've waited about 2 months, probably, even a little closer to the actual election.
Right.
But yeah, I get it. Yeah,
So,
who knows who's behind it and
yeah,
if
I
it
think they're
why
thinking that he's gonna pull out,
uh-huh.
you know? So, if it hasn't already been announced, I think he will likely they say he will likely pull out now, and then they're gonna have to find somebody else to replace him.
Well, the other woman's not gonna beat Susan Collins, the former governor or whatever, and so,
Maybe they'll find another person.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the right thing is here, and who's behind all this. If this is genuine, I can only assume it's genuine. Well, why she decides to come out now? Why didn't she say something whenever this happened, which was supposed to be a
Right.
couple years ago? Why didn't she report it then?
Right.
So
Exactly.
who went and dug it up? But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the guy kept going, and and whoever they put up in place of him is got no. I would say no chance, but very little chance to beat Collins. So I don't know. But the Democratic Party doesn't want anything to do with this. Although the Democratic Party didn't have any problem with Bill Clinton, so I don't know. We shall see here what happens. But
SCOTUS did okay. Kavanaugh, he got in. Apparently, they overlooked the woman who came out and testified before Congress to say how she was raped by him. So,
yeah, yeah.
there's a lot that gets overlooked,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I personally think the Democrats ought to start acting more like the Republicans, just full bore, and this is just say this is all untrue. It's just accusations. I'm going to keep going, and this is the difference. And and guess what? They got Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court for life. So just keep going. I would say. I mean, I don't want to diminish the woman's accusations, but from a political standpoint, they got to start playing hardball, and I think.
To your point, she could be correct, telling the truth, and
Mm,
still,
mhm,
if someone gives proper, you know, apologies, etc.,
mhm.
it might go forward. So,
Yeah, so is there any charges? Is the main
it was
authorities
only 2021, I think, the timing. So you would think that
5 years ago? Why wasn't there anything filed? Is she gonna file
she
a
didn't file a
complaint?
police report.
Is
No,
she gonna file a police report? So, I would keep
right.
going if I were him, I mean, I don't know exactly what happened, but if he says it's untrue and there's no police report, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta start playing hardball if they wanna beat these people, so.
Right.
All right, so let me see here. I know you were big on eggs, honey. The DO. I know that we were really worried about the price of eggs for a while, but the about a week ago or so, the Department of Justice in 17 states reached a settlement with three egg producers over price collusion. Artificially inflated prices to the tune of $3.5 million. June of 2022 to March of 2025. Letitia James was leading that. So the three egg producers were Calmaine Foods,
You
Versova,
know,
and Hickman Ranch. So,
yeah. I'm saying is that $3.3 million does not sound like relatively a lot of money.
mhm.
And
How
do
many
they
eggs
know
is
the
that?
damage they did? Don't we attribute the price of eggs to Trump getting back into office?
Yeah, that was one of the deals, the price of eggs. So,
Well, I'm just saying they
yep.
owe us more than 3.3 million.
I
Just
did notice that the settlement was fairly small. I don't know how many eggs that is. Is that a buck an egg or something like that? It seemed like it would be a little bigger, but they did admit wrongdoing and settled. So let me see here. Speaking of DSA, it looks like I've read that Kamala Harris is reaching out to Mamdani and other DSA people to kind of get their opinion and see if there's some common ground. So she's starting to read the tea leaves and see if she can jump on the TSA bandwagon. Well, we'll see if she takes a second shot at the presidency. I think the kind of the rule of thumb is once you lose once, you're out. Except Trump ignored that and he came back for a second time. So we'll see. I think they're getting.
all I want to say is that whether you're DSA or Trump, the electorate feels like they are seen and heard. And that's why they vote for who they vote for. So you can't, I don't know if you can manufacture that. And Kamala, the horses left the barn. I thought she did fine given the situation, but we need, and I think people need new, fresh, non corporate blood in terms of, who's in charge of our politics and our government. So that's why they're gravitating toward the DSA.
Mhm,
So I don't think Kamala can gain anything by trying to sidle up to him and hope that something
mhm,
reflects well on her
mhm,
by being near them.
mhm.
So she would need to have a, lobotomy to try and change completely how people perceive her, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, she's part of the corporate
Right.
system and had her shot. I wish she would have won, but she didn't. So anyway, have you been reading about the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act? It's basically the document that describes how much we need for military operations in the next year, and then it ends up getting folded into the budget. Looks like they're asking Hegseth or whoever is asking for $1.5 trillion.
Trillion
Yeah,
with a
so
T.
this. Yep, and part of this is the actual melding of the militaries of us in Israel. They keep renaming it, but I believe it's now Section 219 of the NDAA is an actual melding of the Israeli military and our military, and the Israeli intelligence services and our intelligence services, which is
Didn't we just
monstrously.
fire a bunch of our intelligence services?
Yeah,
So, no, there's no melding with a foreign country.
well, that's what people are saying is we can have agreements with other sovereign countries. And France, UK, Japan. There's cooperation, but an actual intertwining, so that Israel would have access to our
No, why would you do
sub.
that? Why
Well,
not you, sorry.
well,
Why would they do that? What is the upside?
they get the people who are run our government are bribed by APAC, and they'll do whatever they want, whatever they tell them to do. That's why. So, and, they've got this mindset that whatever is good for Israel is good for America, which is couldn't be more than it couldn't be more wrong. And I mean, think about every war in the Middle East we've gotten into. Who has it helped? Iraq, Syria, Iran.
Mm.
Who is helped by all that stuff? They're bleeding us dry, and now they're going to be actually in internally melding. We'll see. People are trying to stop it, but it's probably going to pass. And one thing, the budget is so high on this. This is part of discretionary spending as opposed to, let's see, non-discretionary, which would be Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. This is discretionary, so you can pick and choose what you spend money on. And this actually ends up being, it looks like, over 80% of the discretionary budget. So we've got the complete budget of everything, and then just the discretionary part, which we do not have to spend money on. Non-discretionary, we have to spend money on, right? So it's that, and then so what's left, 82% of it is going to be defense, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And so I don't know, is that that can't sit well with people. So we
You would
can't
think,
can't get health care.
A,
Uh,
how many people know about it?
yeah, well, yeah, a few.
Who's talking about it?
Yeah, no, nobody. Oh, well, a few people are, but
Yeah,
nobody important. It's
nobody.
just another thing. And so we're gonna take all the money, all the taxes, and we're legally obligated to fund certain things. And of all the stuff that's left over 80% is gonna go to war, to defense. So it's gonna pass. It's gonna
Because,
pass.
we're already so much in debt
Yeah,
and
yeah, we're
we
already.
don't want wars,
Mhm.
but let's put 1.5, let's spend an extra 1.5 trillion on war.
Yeah, because the people that get voted in don't care about about their constituents. They care about their donors, and their donors are telling them to do this. So,
Corrupt.
so if you want to follow up on this, it's the NDAA, National Defense Authorization something, and check that out. And then check on section. I think it's referred to as section 219, the actual melding. I'm trying to think of a better word. It's not merging. It's actually two becoming one. So
Combining, conflating, combining.
whatever, whatever that is, with
Mm.
another sovereign government. So, oh, and by the way, if you think I'm being hyperbolic, Mike Huckabee himself, a U.S. ambassador to Israel, referred to Israel as the 436th district of America. So there's 435 congressional districts in America. He is referred to Israel as the 436th, and they got a district, and they've got recordings of this. They got proof of this. So there's just more and more of a zeitgeist feeling, whatever, that Israel and America are starting to become one. I don't believe this is gonna go over well. I don't believe guys who join the military are going to be happy about this.
Right.
Alrighty. Anyway, let's see. The U.S. men's soccer team has lost to Belgium. They got trounced by Belgium. And of course, the reason I'm bringing this up is because Trump had to put his dirty little fingers on this. There was a player, Balogun, the striker, got a red card the game before the Belgian game. It was a very bad red card. It shouldn't have been a red card, but it got called a red card, and that means you get kicked out of the game and you get suspended for the next game. Well, this sort of thing has happened before unfairly, but it's just the rules. And of course, Trump sticks his nose in. He calls the head of FIFA and asks them to review it. And lo and behold, the one game suspension got suspended, and the guy got to play. So now the world is up in arms about this. It's just the one thing, that the beautiful game, although FIFA, which runs the whole thing, is pretty corrupt. But just one thing, that American favoritism and Trump having to stick his nose in everything. And the guy ended up playing in the game yesterday, and our team got crushed. Belgium crushed us 4-1. It wasn't even that close. So, and he just can't keep his little fingers out of anything. I'm not sure what to make of this, but one corrupt organization and another, it's like a nuclear bomb of corruption. The uranium atom meets one. They're both uranium atoms in a nuclear bomb trying to find each other,
Right.
and they're hitting. So, all right. And then I got a new thing. I've got to look into this a little bit, but there's a new movie coming out, and it's the right wing is loving this movie. It's called Citizen Vigilante. It has been banned in Germany, but it's basically a rich white guy goes around killing non-white immigrants
Well, that's
in Ge
terrible.
in Germany. So all the bad guys are Muslim and brown, and the white guy is rich, and he's the good guy, and he just goes around killing them for crimes. So
Nice.
and it's just so overly top racist and all this that Germany banned it, but the right wing is loving it.
Mm.
And it stars Army Hammer, who does not have a good history. If you read up on him lately, this is like a comeback for him. He's been out of the game for a few years for some, I think it's sexual harassment issues, but this is his comeback story. Army Hammer is the star of this movie. I got a feeling it might be a thing. So it's just come out, but I got a feeling that it might be like a anthem or something for the right wing.
Mhm.
That's just a guess of mine. That's why I brought
Right.
it up. That's why I'm bringing it up. But it's probably a terrible movie, I would guess. But Citizen Vigilante is what it's called. So,
All right.
and then I get the last thing I got is some bad news. Victor Willis has died. Victor Willis
Huh?
has died. Victor Willis is the lead singer for the Village People. So, and I think he co-wrote some of their songs too. So when you sing YMCA and Macho Man, it was
Mhm.
Victor Willis, who I believe played the cop. I think he was the cop in The Village People. He died last week, so it was bad news, but
Sure he was a good age, you know?
yeah, I'm sure he had lived a well life, but anyway, the lead singer for The Village People has passed away.
Huh.
Yeah, that's all I got, unless you got something else, huh?
No, I do gonna play Vanna. I gotta be Vanna from now on. Just gonna react to your wonderful research.
Ugh, come on, honey.
Okay, I'll come up with something next time.
Alright, you gotta surprise me, you gotta come up with something that I don't know so I can kinda react off the cuff here.
Maybe something that's actually good news, you know?
Uh-huh.
Something, maybe I'll look hard and find something,
Mhm.
you know? I'll do that. Okay. Well, I guess that's it for tonight. That's all we have. As always, please follow us, subscribe, or share. We're on Spotify and Apple and YouTube.
And, thank you for listening to episode 24.
Yes, 24, my favorite number. Goodbye.